Hi, today I'm going to show you a revolutionary way to create web applications. Not happy with the current state of affairs, it takes far too long to develop a website, the tools are confusing and convoluted, and you're left with a mess of files all over the place. Just look at healthcare.gov as an example. To that end, we created Summit. Summit turns the web application development on its head. It's an IDE and framework all in one. In fact, Summit was written with Summit. Bit of a chicken and egg.
Okay, so let's tackle a typical business problem. I've got an Excel spreadsheet here. The spreadsheet has some data on it. It also has sheets with other items of data in it. Now, Excel spreadsheets or Word documents or anything like this are fine for sending via email, but as soon as someone makes an update to them, we've got a problem. Especially if you've got multiple people, you need to bring that information back into the root document, or advise other people of the content change. This is where a web application is a boon for business. Now, how do we get this Excel spreadsheet in to be a web application? So, well, let's add one more item in here just to make sure it's really working. Oops. And save our Excel spreadsheet. Now I'm going to go into Summit itself. Summit is a web application itself. Here, I'm in a web browser. I'm on this URL launching Summit. As I said earlier, Summit is an IDE, a development environment for developing web applications. It's a web application itself. So I'm going to log in. So I've logged into the Summit developer environment. And here I see a list of web applications. If I actually flip to page 1, I remembered where I was last time. Summit. Summit is number 1. It's the first application in the list of applications that have been created with the tool. Flip back to page 2. So, what is a web application? Well, a web application is a website. It doesn't have to be the whole website. It can be a subsection of the website. But it consists of a number of pages. And on those pages you have regions. This is a region here called applications. This is a region here called users with a number of users on it. Okay, so within a region we can have controls. We can have buttons, text boxes, labels, anything you want. And reports. So we have this report here within the region. So a web application is web pages made up of regions, made up of elements or items in a region. And logic that stitches it all together. So we're going to create a new web application. We can create a web application from scratch and add pages manually, or we can kickstart it with our Excel spreadsheet if we wanted to. So I'm going to go into the wizard, test Excel, let's do new Excel, choose our file, samples, open, and go. So it's told us now that it's created an application. Let's go back to our apps list. And here it is, new Excel. Let's click on that. Now what has it done? So this is our web application, our new web application. We're still in Summit at the moment. We're not seeing the web application run. We're just looking at what it's actually built for us at the moment. And what it's built for us is it's created an application and given it a name, the name we typed in. And it's also created a database for us. It's created a new database called New Excel. What it did in creating that database is it took each sheet out of our Excel spreadsheet and created a table for it. And with the content of the sheet, it populated that table. Then it created a login page for us. It created a menu, and it created a page for each of the sheets in the Excel spreadsheet. Now if I go to the login page, now I'm looking at a page, and a page is made up of regions. A page can also have logic associated with it. Pre-processing, post-processing, a number of other things. Well, we don't have any logic in here at the moment. But if I run the page or run the application at this point, it's going to show us our login page. Well, not very inspiring, but it's done. We can add lipstick to it with a style sheet or whatever we want to do later on. Now, because we have no logic, it's not going to require us to enter a username and password. We can just go to the login, which will take us to the next page. The next page is our menu. From the menu, we can go to each of our individual spreadsheets. Here we are. We actually have an Excel spreadsheet converted to be a web application. So we have item 3 in here, banana. Well, let's change it to bananas. Down here in the report, banana. Let's update it. Okay, so what this is doing for us is this is now a multi-user application. Dozens of people can log in at the same time from anywhere in the world and maintain the data in here. It's also developed breadcrumbs for us. But let's go back. Let's take a look at people. A more complex page. Lots of elements here. Okay. So let's take a look. Now that I've logged in and created this Excel spreadsheet, we can take it, you can just distribute it as this. You can deploy this to your web server and run it. In fact, you can actually just go to this URL, and you can make this URL simpler, but launching this URL will launch our application without going through Summit itself. You don't actually have to go in as a developer. You can just go straight to the URL and launch our application, which is what, you know, your salespeople or whoever are going to use this system would do. And you can make the URL something else you want as well, whatever you want it to say. So I've actually gone in though via the Summit tool, and as such I have this toolbar at the bottom: edit page, debug on, and session. If I press edit page, it takes me into Summit with the page that I was on as the item that I want to manipulate. This page has pre-processing and post-processing, has logic. It created the logic for me automatically by analyzing the Excel spreadsheet. I can come in, I can change this around and do whatever I want. We also have a form, which is the form on the screen where I type in and make my changes, and a report where I get to see the list of the items. Let's go into the one called form and change it to person, the name of it. Submit that. Let's go to the next one, which is people. Here I see that it's doing a select against the Excel spreadsheet that was converted into a database. It's actually going against a table named after the sheet. And it created columns in the database with that information. Okay, so this one I'm going to change, instead of column 1, it's going to be column 2. And then I'm going to run the page again and see what we did. Run the page. Okay, so we moved that region from down here to here, from column 1 to column 2. We also changed the label from people to person. This one's people, this one's a person. Didn't read. We can go to another page. Gisela. Okay, so it's all working. Let's go back to our menu and go back to our logon. Let's take a look at debug. What debug has done for us is it's just given us a quick shortcut here into an individual item. So if I click on this edit, it's telling me that this field is a password field. Let's run the page again. Oops, let's log on. It's a password field. Let's change it to a text box. Submit. Run the page. So now it's no longer a password field, it's a logon field. Sorry, a text field. Let's go back to login again. Let's edit the page. Go back to apps. Let's take a look at something a bit more fancy that we've created in here. So that was a good Kickstarter, gets us going. Let's take a look at, I don't know, let's look at Scrum. Scrum is a web application that I built to manage agile development with Scrum methodology. So if I run the application, has a login page. This one I do actually have to log in as. Okay, I can look at projects. Alright, well, we've got dashboarding. Go back. Tasks. More tasks. So this one is manipulating a region. In the region I have a report, and the report is being filtered by the details that I have in the filters. Okay. Edit page. Let's jump back to applications. Let's take a look at something else, expenses. Okay, so this is an expense management tool. Well, I know that's a bit gaudy. Don't like the look of it. So let's edit the page. And let's go back to the application. I don't want to actually edit the page. I want to edit the application. I'm going to change the theme from the default to a more professional looking. Run the application. So, a bit more professional looking. Okay, so with that, you can see that we can reskin an application on the fly. One of the problems we have with the current methodologies and tooling out there is that we need to be consistent across pages with the look and feel. Summit does it automatically. You get a theme out of the box, which we saw with our Excel spreadsheet one. It's very rudimentary. Or you can jazz up that theme, you know, adding images and, you know, all the other stuff. That's maintained in this global section here. Whatever application you're currently in, if you look at the style sheets for it, now we can see we have the default one, which was the green. We have the Pro one, which is what it's switched to right now. And we also have others. You can simply add more and more style sheets, flip between them, and totally reskin your application on the fly. All maintained centrally. I don't have to worry about files all over the place. All the difficulty of the current standards that are out there in the field today. Summit makes it so much easier. Okay, so with that, I hope you've got a feel for what Summit can do for you. It can get you up and running with a web application in just a few mouse clicks. Or you can go around another way and create everything from scratch yourself. Summit itself was created from scratch. There was no Excel spreadsheet to create it from. And as you can see, you can do things that are very powerful with it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you for today. Hopefully with the Kickstarter, when we raise some more money, I can show you more things that we can do. The main thrust of the Kickstarter is to get more documentation and more materials out there on the web so that people can actually go ahead and build more things. All right, thank you for watching.